What is up, champs? Champion Trucker coming back at you with a new video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a controversial subject. This subject has to deal with immigrants and truck drivers, the surge of them, and my thoughts and my kind of interpretation of what's going on, why that they're getting a CDL job. I'm not against it, nor am I for it. I definitely want to look at it from a bird's eye view. And there's a few people on YouTube that are truck drivers that have been implementing their own thoughts on the matter. I do think that their thoughts are a little radical. Personally, for me, I don't have a political party that I side with. If you do, go ahead and just stay to that side. I'd rather bring this video for educational purposes to everybody that watches. We're going to be watching B2 Speaks, the truck driver that I do watch, and I know his background. So this isn't any kind of like drama or any kind of like rebuttal. I just bring you guys forward to this situation that other truck drivers are looking at and their take on it. I know this is a long intro, but I definitely want to put out all information because this is a sensitive subject. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and let's go ahead and roll that intro. So this is a YouTuber, B2 Speaks. I've been watching him for quite a while now, and I do understand that he's a biblical, or claims to be a biblical conservative. And I know what conservatives are. I believe it's more of the traditional American foundation. That's where conservatives want to go. Again, I don't associate myself with any kind of political party. I just want to display the facts. This is his opinion on the immigrants that are coming in. The biggest problem with them is the title of the video is "Not Speaking English as a Truck Driver is Against the Law, but the Government Doesn't Care." Again, I'll formulate the story with facts, and you guys can take that, do your own research, and come up with your own ideas when it comes down to the situation at hand. Let's watch the video.
If they don't know how to speak English and they have a CDL, you already know they might be illegal. Or they went through some shady process in getting a CDL because they shouldn't even have a CDL because they didn't qualify for it because they can't speak English. So how many times have you been at a truck stop or a shipper and you have been in line behind one of these guys and they can't even communicate with the cashier at the counter at the truck stop? The cashier is trying to figure out what they want, what they need, and they can't even communicate to the lady behind the counter at the truck stop. They're having to pull out phones and Google Translate and all of this other stuff just to be able to pay for their fuel.
So that is B2 Speaks. If you want to watch the full video, the video will be down in the description below. But I use that as a reference point on the discussion that we're going to have. I believe that there's a little bit of a small ignorance, and I use ignorance saying that lack of knowledge, and I'll delve into the side. I more so relate to, the Black and American side of things rather than my Hispanic side, just due to the way I was raised. So I'll be focusing on that, and also Hispanics and everybody that makes up the trucking industry. Let's get into the facts. So first and foremost, we need to figure out how many truck drivers are in the U.S. According to the American Trucking Association, 3.54 million truck drivers are employed in 2022. So there could be more, there could be less. Up 1.5 from according to 2021. As of 2020, 4% of all male full-time workers nationwide were truck drivers. So that's across the board of all males. So a very small percentage out of the 96% that makes up the male population, making it the most common occupation for men by far. So I don't know about that part. I think it's 4% of 96% is kind of a small percentage. But anyway, so that is the statistics when it comes down to how many truck drivers are in the U.S. It's just said right there, 3.5. And that is only in 2022. We're going to go ahead and take a look at immigrants. So this is the website is 24hourtranslator.com. This talks about immigrants have become a vital part of the trucking industry labor force, particularly in states with a high proportion of foreign-born residents, such as Texas and California. Immigrants currently make up nearly 19% 50% of the 1.2 million long-haul truck drivers working in the U.S., according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Okay, I'm going to read this full thing because the full thing is just interesting. Immigrants in trucking come from various countries, including Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, China, India, Poland, and Ukraine. California has the highest percentage of immigrant truck drivers, nearly 47% of all truck drivers being foreign born. The next thing that I wanted to look at, I don't want to look at it from all just purely a negative standpoint, but I wanted to see why they recruit immigrants. And this is the benefit of recruiting immigrants. One of the benefits of recruiting immigrants to the trucking industry is that it can help alleviate the current labor shortage. Immigrants may also have experience operating similar vehicles in their native land, which can help them adapt to the job more quickly. Additionally, recruiting immigrants can help create a more diverse workforce, which can lead to a more creative problem solving and a better understanding of the needs of diverse communities. It continues, another benefit is that the trucking industry offers a stable income averaging around $47,000 annually, along with life and medical insurance benefits and retirement plan. This can be especially attractive to immigrants who may be struggling to find stable employment with similar benefits. Now, I like to keep it balanced, so we're going to look at the drawbacks of recruiting immigrants. However, there are also drawbacks to relying heavily on immigrant drivers. Some U.S.-born truckers are concerned that immigrant drivers lower wages for all drivers. Low wages tend to happen across all industry when immigrants first come into the country. Furthermore, language barriers can pose a challenge as communication is vital in the trucking industry for safety reasons. Incorporating new immigrant workers into collaborative bargaining groups can leverage bargaining power for increased wages or better work conditions. Another drawback is that many immigrants may face barriers to entry into trucking, such as difficulty obtaining financing for a truck or language barriers that can make it difficult to pass commercial licensing exam. Providing language and driving training, as well as financial support for obtaining commercial driver's license can help overcome these obstacles and create more opportunities for immigrants in the trucking industry. So with that, we're going to take a look at the demographics of all truck drivers. What is the percentage of white, black, and then also other Hispanic, everything like that, unknown. So it looks like the largest pool when it comes down to professional truck drivers. So let's go over this. There are over 689,930 professional truck drivers currently employed in the United States. I think that there's a lot more than that, but that's that statistic. 15.7 of all professional truck drivers are women, and then 84.3 are men. So a very small pool of women truck drivers. The average professional truck driver age is 47 years old. The most common ethnicity of professional truck driver is white, 58.5%, followed by Hispanic and Latino, 17.9%, and then black or African American, 14.4%, and then 4.7% is unknown. In 2022, women earned 90% of what men earned. 4% of all professional truck drivers are LGBT, and then professional truck drivers are 79% more likely to work at a private company in comparison to public companies. So I want to stop it here. With all this information that's flooding your mind, there are positives why somebody would hire somebody that, driven a truck in a other country. And then there's also downsides, and I'll give you guys my opinion, but this is something that I also want to let you guys know about the history of truck drivers, especially B2 Speaks is from what I've seen, and I can't really say 100%, he's African American, black, or identifies as that. So I kind of want to show a little history when it comes down to African American or black and the things that he's saying that they once said back in the past. So this story, I highly suggest that you read this. It's called Breaking Barriers, the First Black Over-the-Road Truck Driver. And his name was Richard B. Sagers. and you can follow me if you want to. I hope I said his last name right, but this is a story that the author, or excuse me, they're interviewing somebody that's grandfather was the very first over-the-road black truck driver. My grandfather, Richard B. Sagers, was born on March 21st, 1933, in Stockbridge, Georgia, at the time when segregation and racial inequality were rampant. After high school, he served in the United States Army 11th Airborne Division, 188th AIR, which was the first all-black regiment to integrate Fort Campbell, Kentucky, in the early 1950s. After his service, he pursued his dream of becoming a commercial truck driver. In the 1950s, or 1952, he obtained his commercial driver's license, but he soon realized that the industry was deeply discriminatory towards black drivers. Many trucking companies refused to hire black drivers, leaving my grandfather with limited options. Despite facing numerous challenges, my grandfather refused to abandon his dream of driving freight. Despite facing numerous challenges, my grandfather refused to abandon his dream of driving freight trucks across the country. He began working on the docks of Nabasco I hope I said that correct, in Atlanta. But his ultimate goal was to secure a job at Yellow Freight System. He was so persistent that he visited their office every single day asking for a job. To quote my grandmother, who he affectionately called Boo, said, "He went every day, and I meant every day." People assumed he was already an employee as he had started learning how to load and back up trucks from a Yellow Freight workers themselves. So this is a picture of Richard and Betty Boo Sagers. And I highly suggest it paid off. He became a truck driver. They wouldn't create the story if he didn't. I highly suggest to take a look. Down below will be a link to the story. Read it. It's powerful. So this is the CRST trucking company. They have their celebrating drivers in Hispanic Heritage Month. The Hispanic/Latino community continues to play a significant role in trucking. Currently, 17.9% of professional truck drivers are Hispanic or Latino, which is growing. In 2019, Hispanic truck drivers numbered just 12% of the U.S. trucker population, over half of all the foreign-born drivers hauling in the country. So that's just some take on the Hispanics. They make up Hispanics are integrating themselves a lot more into the space of truck drivers comparably to, and I kind of reach back to our foundation, which is the video with B2 Speaks. There's a lot more Hispanics when it comes down to professional truck drivers in the space comparably to black or African American. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts. When my mother came from Puerto Rico, obviously it's a territory of the United States, not an actual state. Some of you guys don't know that. She did not speak English all that well. And she came here, she had to figure it out all by herself. And today she's actually a very prominent player within the industry, the healthcare industry. She's able to translate for those that don't speak English. And the thing about the United States is that, yes, it is a place where you can create a staple for yourself. And I remember a true African, came over here. I was training him at the job, and he told me something that will stick with me throughout the rest of my life. That those that are born within this country lack the ability to see the opportunities given to them. Now, I'm not saying all, but a lot of individuals don't see the opportunity like so many other from other countries do. I'm not saying that it's right coming into the country illegally and being able to obtain a position of prominence such as like CDLs or anything like that. But there are jobs that a lot of truck drivers would pass up that need to be done. And so the immigrants do take these jobs. I do say that it is hard to come into this country and not think that you should speak English. But I don't think that English is going to be the dominant language anymore after a couple of years. I would say around 25 years. I would say that you're going to need to be bilingual and be able to speak Spanish because the country is a mixing pot. I do see the problem here is that, when given a shot, you're willing to take it at bottom dollar, and that hurts everybody. And so I do believe that there needs to at least be trucking companies that have a certain amount of truck drivers that are immigrants that can integrate into the system, but that's in a perfect world. It does hurt everybody, but at the same time, I don't blame them for wanting to have a better life. I've seen people in Puerto Rico that don't even think about going over to the mainland of the United States and figuring it out. It's too much, it's way too much. I don't speak English. I don't know their culture. And so a lot of them stay there in their situation. There's a lot more that, they're prosperous and everything like that in Puerto Rico. But for the most part, it's a world that some of you guys have no idea about. Now, imagine going down to more oppressive countries and they tell you that, hey, you can get into a country and have a better shot. I'm sorry, but you would be an absolute idiot for not taking it. So you could blame the government. Yes, mainly they are the ones that allow immigrants over, but don't blame the people that want to have a better shot into their life. If I had to fight and I had to figure out a way to survive in this world in 2024, I literally would do everything I can. And that would mean that if I heard that this country is a land of the free and a place where I can prosper and create businesses and create generational wealth, you have to understand a lot of these folks come from a background of family where the deterioration of truck drivers is like a lot of, and I created a video about single truck drivers, that it's deteriorating, that, marriage is not existent. There is a great majority of you that are married, but it's deteriorating. And a lot of these truck drivers go back home to their families, to their purpose that they believe in. But with that all being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this very touchy subject. Please don't be a radical. I'm very balanced. I listen to all views of everybody. Again, I listen to the positives and the negatives. I'm not on anybody's side, but trying to give you a bird's eye view into the situation at hand. Do I think it's a great yay yippity doo dah day when it comes down to immigrants coming in? No. Do I think it's the end of the world? No. I think that you're gonna have to adapt to the times. And when you look back 25 years from now and you look back at a video where you said that immigrants shouldn't be in this country, you will look a certain type of way because you didn't get with the times. Thank you again for watching this video. I'll catch all of you in the next one. Peace.